Way Up with Angela Yee, and y'all know I love me some Real Housewives of Potomac. Well, Keiarna, welcome to the show. You said it's your first time at iHeart?
Yes, this is my first time here, I believe. So thank you for having me.
Okay, well, glad to have you because you got a lot going on this season.
Let's chit-chat about it.
Season 10. So first thing I did was check to see if you had that ring because you and Greg, your boyfriend, soon-to-be fiance, were shopping for rings, but not...
Well,
I don't
my
see it
mama
yet.
was shopping for rings.
Well, yes.
Yes.
And Angel and,
Yeah, the people were there shopping for the rings. Yes.
Okay, all right. Listen, it got a little crazy. So I want to talk about you and Greg first and foremost.
Yes.
Because you guys broke up.
We did.
And then we found out this season you got back together.
Yes, we had our Come to Jesus fight. And you know what? We needed that at the time. I think, when you add reality TV to your relationship and you put cameras on things that you haven't had the chance to work out on your own, we needed some time apart. We needed to figure out this is what we wanted to do. And it was good for us. And I think now that we're back together, we actually are living together. We're trying to do things the right way.
All right, so now he bought you a condo.
Yeah,
listen, let me sip my tequila.
Yeah, sip your tequila. Sip that tequila.
All right, so what? So break all that down.
Let's clear this up because I feel like that gets a little muddy on camera. So basically, when I moved out, I moved into the condo because we had intentions on doing the home together. So when I moved out, I was like, oh, okay, I actually really love it here. And so a part of him saying, do you want to come back home was like, okay, I kind of like this too. So our little compromise as we worked through things was the condo. So I was already buying the condo. And he's like, you know what, let me do that for you.
Okay.
So that's kind of what happened. So I put the contract on the condo. We actually have not closed yet on the condo, but it's a contract on the condo.
Okay, so that's the deal.
So that was the deal. So, and I actually moved back in, but we set the things in place so that it all made sense.
Now, I saw your mom and your brother. By the way, the whole family's lit.
Thank you.
Because everybody was like, okay, brother. Okay, mom.
Listen, honey, genetics, they're strong. Yeah.
So how do they feel about all of this? Now, we only saw what we saw on TV.
Yeah.
But you guys are together. Are they happy for you now? Because I can understand breaking up. Your mom is protective. Your brother is protective of you.
Totally. Listen, one thing you want you to do when you tell your family, you better be prepared. And that's what it's like.
They was going to see it on TV anyway.
I was going to say, imagine telling them, but they watching it now. Right. Now family has to watch you. So I think they had very normal family responses to be concerned. I think they know me. They know how I do my relationships. I will kind of keep it in-house and work through my things. So for them to be a part of that and to have to watch that, it saddened them. So I think their feelings were very valid. And I allow my family to express their feelings because at the end of the day, we're going to all be together if we're going to be together.
Right.
And so right now, they have a mutual understanding. They have their understanding. So like any other family, like if I forgive them, they're open. If it makes me happy, they're open. But honey, if you get on the wrong side of the tracks, they'll get into it again.
Right.
And that, and they find their way back.
Oof. You also started doing therapy, you said.
Oh, needed it.
Okay, so tell me about, because that is so interesting. You've never done therapy before this, or had you?
No. So I have done therapy, attempts at therapy. I have not done therapy in the way that I am doing therapy right now. So I'm in constant therapy where I go, and Greg and I also go to therapy. So I think a lot of times couples go to get therapy together, and some of your root issues are independent of your person.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are some things that you two had to work through together? Because we saw how things played out before.
Yeah.
You felt he was dismissive of you.
Totally.
And then he was dismissive of you.
And then he dismissed me. That was very uncomfortable because it's so funny. I think when people are watching, they're watching these very short periods. They're watching a 3-day situation, and it kind of sums up the narrative of your relationship, and that's just not true. Like any normal relationship, if you have an argument, sometimes you're able to work those things out in 3 days. Kudos to you if you can. Sometimes when you're making serious decisions, you need longer than a 3-day camera fest to say this is what's going to be the sum of your relationship. But I think in therapy, one of the biggest things that I realized is that this is something that was new for the both of us. It was a decision that I made for myself personally that actually did not include Greg, which is something that he needed to accept. And it's also the fact that I think that what expectations look like and realistically what we want to do. Like I talk a lot about our past experiences with me being engaged, him being married, him being divorced, and me being single for a certain amount of time. Those are things that I have to work through and try to reposition myself because being a wife is different than being a girlfriend.
Right. And you've been through a lot.
I've been through a lot of things.
Even in your previous engagement and the way that ended,
it was awful.
Unfortunate. And so if you've never addressed that, I can't even imagine how that is bringing that into...
That is so real because I don't really get too deep into that on camera because I like to respect that particular phase of my life. But yeah, that was something very deep for me because it changes your expectations on what forever looks like.
Right.
And when people put pressure on that and you have different experiences, and both of us are having different experiences, but and we both have grief, I'm sure, that we've experienced in different ways of loss. And that definitely impacts both of us of trying to self-cope, do it on our own, and then trying to fit this person back into our lives, new people back into our lives in a big way. So that, those are things that we definitely had to work through. And then there's children involved.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So it's a lot
now
of layers
you're also
there.
going to have 3 kids.
Yeah.
Because he has 3 children.
Yes.
How has that been, just having that blended family and that takes like a lot of work too.
It does. And you're talking about someone who has 0 responsibilities besides herself in life. And a lot of my previous relationships were 0 responsibilities. So we have to be a lot more considerate that it's not just about us. We bring the children into this. We make a family not just for Greg and ourselves to be selfish. We create that space around them too, in our families. So because once you put your family on national TV, you add your children to that. There's a lot of layers there. So for me, it is very different because it's like, Kay, you can't just think about Kay anymore.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other people that you have to think about.
It's so different dating somebody and then with kids.
It is.
Because the kids get attached to you too.
That's the thing. So it's like, listen, I don't have no problem dragging you to hell, but then I gotta be like, then when I come back, I'm looking at the kids like, oh my God, hey, y'all miss me? We cool. All is well, so it is different. And I will say too, that's the part I actually like. I like the family piece. I like the family piece. It's a matter of now trying to balance a piece that wasn't a part of my existence before. So Greg has his plights, but I have a whole different plight that looks different off camera than what people are able to see.
You're also an entrepreneur.
Yes,
obviously,
I am.
You have your own business that's quite successful.
Yes, I am.
And so people are digging into that. Now, I want you to break down, because I saw some articles and people talking crazy. They're like, she don't own it. It's this, it's that. It's not really hers. But I want you to clear that up.
Yes, because I can see the people get bored and they like to get entertained. So I absolutely own the business. So when I started Stewart Beauty and Wellness, it's actually not under that name. But my mom, when I came in I started the business post-COVID.
Okay.
So I had some things going on. I had to hold that business for a very long time. I actually had a very difficult startup with my business. One that I don't even talk about because now people are like, oh, we were so happy for her to be here. But I went through hell. I was actually the first Black-owned woman med spa in that area to be in that prime real estate downtown. So I went
let's stop for that is a huge deal.
It was a huge deal.
Yeah, so congratulations to you on that.
You.
I know that's not easy.
It wasn't easy, and I really had a very hard time. So I needed a break from a moment, and I tapped my mom in and I said, hey, okay. She's like, well, we should add something else to the business and mental health. Why don't we make a separate branch? So it's always Stewart Beauty. So my mom did Stewart Beauty and Wellness to kind of relieve me, because my first year of business, honey, I deep dived all the way into that. Like
and that's what happens.
I took it all on.
When you got to self-fund your business.
Listen, so mind you, I actually sold my franchises to self-fund that business.
Wow.
So it's a deeper story than that. But yeah, so it was really like I did it all. And so it literally was like a $500,000 project. And honey, I did every dollar of that. So when I couldn't hold it anymore, I said, hey, Mom, I'm going to transition my business. Can you tap me in? Can you help me? And then I'll own this part, and then I can have this in your name. So for the people who are like, oh, she doesn't own, yes, I do. My name is on the lease. It's on the building. Yes. And I have a wonderful mother who's also a businesswoman as well. And so, yeah, that's what I did. And I turned it over to her, and I'm able to like buy my business back. And it's, it's still Stewart.
Do you think being on the show helps you with your business? Like, do you see a lot more people coming in since you've been on Real Housewives? I'm just curious, like, as far as the branding part of it.
So as far as I'll say, here's the deal. I will say, yes, it piques a lot more interest. I think what's really interesting is that I think we're seeing a lot more Black women in the aesthetic industry. However, it's a very small percentage of us. It's very expensive to do, and it's hard to do. And so for me, I find that's what makes the platform so amazing, because I get to tell people about, hey, this is for us. This is for us, because that's why I created this.
Right.
And being in the beauty industry for so long, I owned a hair salon too.
I can see it.
Okay.
You see the hair.
I touched me today. I own the hair salon too, and I owned that for 13 years. And I transitioned from the hair salon, I franchised, and then I transitioned into the medical spa. But I will say that it's just really important now that people get to see me a little bit more clearly and what I'm doing, and like what they see myself or they see other people.
I feel like
you know
they
what I
need
mean?
to show your business a little more. I would like to
talk about it.
No, I would.
Because I show it a lot.
Yeah, because I would think that would be fascinating for people to see.
Listen,
you in that element. Because I do feel
y'all
a little
hear that?
bit like you've been kind of made the villain this season. I don't know
it's
if you.
not kinda.
Okay. I don't know if you feel that way, but it seems like they've made you the person that's kind of like, what is she so mad for? Like, why? And so I know we don't get to see a lot of the footage.
The backstory.
Yeah, so sometimes we don't know. Yeah. Like, you and Giselle, you and Wendy, even you and your own friend Angel.
Yeah.
That's your friend.
Yeah.
And so people have said, and they did a whole article like, she's not a good friend, type of thing.
Yeah.
And I want you to be able to answer to that because, like I said, there's a lot we don't see.
Totally. First of all, I'm a great friend. That's first things first. I'm a great friend.
Yeah, we're drinking tequila together.
Here we are. I'm a great friend. I'm a protector. I'm someone who is very I'm very aware when people play a little game. I'll even let you play a little game until I'm onto your game. And I think that's what people are seeing. People forget that I've had time around these ladies. I've had time to know some of their intentions, and they're not always the best. So specifically, I'm going to speak to Angel. As my friend, I really ushered her into this, into our friend group, and I felt so protective of her. Even the pitfall was me still being like, hey, don't do that, because I don't want them to try to even say that there's a flaw between us, because it's not. We have a very solid friendship. You know what I mean?
Okay, good. Because we know there's a curse on reality TV
when
people fall out.
And that was one I wasn't going to let fall on us. So for me, it's actually that I'm really more of a protective friend. I'm the friend that's like, no, she belongs to me. And I feel like in this environment, it's natural for people to want to tear friendships apart sometimes. And so for her specifically, I was like, no, we're not going to do that. And so even the chin check comment was really me trying to protect her, know? So what you guys didn't see is that she was actually at my event and we had the conversation. I was like, wait a minute, let's not do that, because we would have to do that in front of other people. And I'm a girl code girl. So me and you can have all of the agrees, disagrees we want between you and me. Yeah. So it was that I knew that would be giving it to the group, and I did not want that.
Right. You'd rather we do that at another time.
I'd rather we do that another time. And that's exactly what happened. Then Ashley took it to Giselle, and then Giselle brings it back up to me. And I'm instantly like, when I'm saying I chin check the situation, I'm like, no, we don't ever have to discuss that again, because she and I had already discussed that. That turned into, she said she chin checked you.
Right.
That wasn't what it was.
Yeah. So I did get that, because I didn't feel like you said you physically were about to like.
No. No. Okay.
It kind of was like shut down the situation.
Yeah, it's like, let's shut down the situation. I don't want that to be the narrative here. So exactly. You see how you knew that meant shut down? That's exactly what it meant.
I didn't think that, but what people also, then they made it a big deal, like, oh, you said you didn't say it, then you said you couldn't remember.
Well, because honestly,
you didn't remember.
No, I probably didn't remember. But we talked about so much of it, and that was actually such a small nugget of the conversation that wasn't even really what Giselle and I had been talking about, which is why I didn't remember. There were other things we were talking about that were, to me, important conversation. That was not. So that's why I didn't remember.
Now, when you were looking at the scene on the boat where you and Giselle... Yes.
Yeah.
When you looked at that in retrospect, do you feel like that was accurately portrayed, or is there more to that story?
And actually, I really hate that scene, because I think it was one of those scenes where I was very confused while we were even having that conversation, because it's a conversation that Giselle and I had multiple times. So I felt like it was very like a little like gotcha moment that didn't.
Wendy kind of instigated that.
Yeah, Wendy instigated that, and I'm looking at Giselle like, we've worked through this already. We've had scenes where we actually sat down and talked about it. It was never shown, but we actually worked through this. And it's like, it was a trauma that I didn't want either of us to have to relive. So it really did upset me. And then the fact that we had Wendy throwing the icing on top of it was like, what are we even talking about? Why is she even in it? Right. You and I have already resolved our issues. If we want to talk, that's between you and I. But why are we letting the input of what Wendy had to say on a conversation that you and I have already addressed?
Now, another thing that's been headline making is you and Stacy.
Ciao.
And I'm sure you saw Stacy's on Vanity Fair's favorite performances of 2025 list.
Congratulations.
They actually named her on that. And people feel like there's no real reason for you. It feels like you don't like her. And they're like, we don't understand why she doesn't like Stacy. And listen, I get that people feel like Stacy lies about things, and but I want to hear from you, because people are confused about that. They're like, what's the issue?
Actually, the issue is that people are so caught up on me not liking Stacy. here's a few of the backdrops. At the beginning of the season, we did have like a rocky start. Which you see at Giselle's house. I was really kind of over it because here's the thing. We're on reality TV and we have a responsibility to give some kind of reality. Not just performance, okay? Because I'm a real person. I don't have performance. I don't have a performance background. I don't have a theatrical background. I bring myself to reality TV, right? Just like you asking me all of my business and I'm giving it to you because I bring myself.
Which I appreciate.
I bring myself.
Because you are being very open.
Yeah, because this is me, right? So, sometimes you expect that from other people, you're just not going to get it. So even after that, what you see is me at the Bloom Bar. When I'm talking to Stacy, and I'm like, hi, Stacy. Actually, it was like I brung a gift for Stacy because I'm like, girl, let's wrap this up. When you don't really have to have an issue because Stacy was somebody that I actually rooted for and liked. Okay. So I'm like, all right, maybe we, this doesn't have to go left for the rest of the season. But I think once she formed her alliance with Wendy, I mean, nothing's better than an alliance hate train. Because, once they get together on the same hate train, you know how that goes.
Link up.
Once the link up happens, once the mad girls link up and you don't like me girls, that's just a thing. So me and Stacy, I've had several moments this season where I actually am the bigger person. I'm like, girl, I don't want to do that with you no more. We're done with it. But Stacy, actually, when we were in Nevis, there was a moment where she really wanted to get to know Angel better and be good friends with Angel. And I said, well, you're putting a whole lot of effort in this, Stacy. You always say that I don't want to be your friend. And she said, because I'm not interested in friendship with you.
But you can't be friends with my best friend and then...
No, it's fine if you be friends with my best friend. But let's move the fact that Kay has a problem with you, because at this point, then maybe you have a problem with Kay. So...
maybe it started with the whole Monique situation too.
That
saying that she dated Monique's ex-husband.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was it's one of those bones that I'm like
you like it's
a little raggedy. Yeah, but here's the deal. It's honesty, and guess what, Monique, you've been out of the game for a while, and I'm not, so I know what goes on here. And so it was a girl code moment again for me, where I'm like, hey girl, just so we clear, because everybody will smile up in your face. And then sometimes you don't know what the deal. But Monique didn't care, so great.
Yeah, Monique is past that.
Thank God.
But I do want to say with Stacy, I'm still, so they only went out, she said, and that's it. Nothing happened. It was like
That's what she said.
Yeah, that's what she said.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know. I don't know. That's what she said. So it's whatever Stacy said.
Now, watching this latest episode with Ashley and her boyfriend, I guess she broke up with him. And that's another thing. People thought it was really mean how she did it. And I want to get your thoughts on that scene where Ashley calls her boyfriend Josh out. They're sitting down and she's basically like, look, I don't know if your finances are together for us to continue this situation. She's thinking into the future. What did you think about that scene?
You know what? Here's the thing. This is the thing. People love to pick and choose what's mean and what's nice when you're telling your real life. People wanted to know about her dating life.
Yeah.
So she said, okay, well, this is what my dating life is like. She had decided that she didn't want to be with him anymore. And that was her decision to tell him. If he wanted to say, hey, I'll come and join you for this conversation. Now, if he had said, no, I don't want to join you for this conversation, and cameras ambushed him and she's like, hey, it's over because you're broke, then I'd be like, oh, now that's just crazy. That's not what she did. She like, look, let's chat about it. Unfortunately, I mean, it probably felt like he was a casualty of war there. But at the end of the day, I think she was being honest. People wanted to know what was going on with her. If she ended it, she said she did. And that's what she did.
Right.
On camera.
Well, you're like, and I'm back and happy in my relationship.
Listen, because people have to understand when real relationships, I'm sure you have the luxury of navigating whatever's happening in your life the way that you like to.
Right. Not on what cameras.
You don't have a camera to kind of say what's going on actually in your life or your relationship. So it's like these are the things that we actually do want to see in other people. That's why I say people pick and choose when they say, oh, we don't want to see that, because at the end of the day, she was still giving you what's happening in her life.
Now, Kay, what are some things that you wish would have been shown about you that didn't make it to the final edits?
Oh, my goodness. Mostly like you running it back to us. Here you go. Is this thing on? Let me run it down. So a few things that I wish would have been shown is that I wish that they would have shown a lot of my conversations before me and Wendy had the conversations that we did have.
Okay.
So I think the whole thing where it just seems like out of nowhere, Wendy, I actually didn't come into the beginning of the season like, yeah, I'm going to have an issue with Wendy. It actually wasn't really like that. It was really like, guys, am I reading this right? Is this a little shady kind of thing? But it was once we got to the Bloom Ball and we were addressing, first of all, her sit down with Giselle was something that we all could have addressed. Because it was something that she said negatively about the entire group. But if I'm your homegirl, you wouldn't have an issue with me sitting down and joining in on the chat, whether you feel like we're in a good place or a bad place, right? If I genuinely ever liked you, I'm not going to act like, I'm not going to throw shade on you when you're trying to join the chat, because you don't know what I'm going to say. Whether this is what you've already made me the villain in your mind. That's what I'm saying. It seems like Kay is, well, why did you think it was going to be that? Why couldn't we just have a chat? But you telling somebody, I don't want you to sit here. Are we cool? Right. So now we're really not cool before I can even get it out, right? You're changing the dynamics here. You know, also another time in Nevis when I was there, I actually gave Wendy earrings for her birthday after they made such a big deal, like, oh, you were so rude, you left the party. And I said, you know what, let's leave whatever issues that we had here. Let's leave it in Nevis and let's go back home and just kind of like, you know, start on a new foot. And it's just real flip-floppy. So you guys didn't see that I actually was a person that said, you know what? Right. I don't want us to have to beef anymore. Here's my peace offering to you so that we can kind of move on and at least be good coworkers at best. Right. You know what I mean? We could do that at best. So those moments like that, and then my business, you know, I had a Toxin Caviar event. So outside of the chin check comment that came out of that, it was beautiful. We see my actual real patients coming there. They got services there. I told you that's what I want to see. They got services there. More of my business, more of the things that I do. Like you see me getting the salmon sperm facial, but that's actually my morning meet and greet with my team to talk about sales projection. I don't know about that. You need it. It's peptides. It's like having the maximum skincare injected in your face at one time.
They need to call it something else.
No, we want to call it that. It's catchy. It has a little ring to it. Because then like, what's that? The thing you need? Yeah. You know?
I want to do the microneedling. I'm
with the same sperm facial.
Okay.
We're going to do it together. So, yeah, it's things like that. My business, you know, even Greg and I think it just seems like we just got back together. Greg and I actually did therapy, you know, this season. Like, we actually said
he don't like being on the show.
He does not.
And so tell me, like, how do you navigate that? Because there is a compromise, right? This is something that you're doing. This is a job.
This is my job.
Yes. And for him, it's not a space that he necessarily wants to be in, but he's doing it. And I feel like maybe that added to some of the issues y'all had earlier. I don't know, but
it totally did. Okay. Because it's like, you know, as a man, naturally, he has his processes. You know, he wants to do things his way in his privacy and his comfort. But I will say this, you know, we have a lot of chit-chat about men's, and some of y'all don't even have no men. Some of y'all are not happy with your men. Some of you are divorced, not divorced. Some of you are, some of you are confused. You know, it's a lot to be said here, you know. And so what I like to say is do what makes you happy. But as far as Greg showing up, I give him kudos for that because this is, at the end of the day, my job. I try to navigate it the best way I can by respecting when he's available to actually do it. You know what I mean? Making it as comfortable as possible by telling him, hey, this is what may be going on. I just try to communicate better because my first go around at this, I just expected, like, listen, you come on, do what I say, do what I want to. Right. He's like, I'm not doing that.
I mean, being a boss, sometimes that personality is different. It does. And that's hard. There you go. Because it doesn't stop with him. It's just knowing that this is a man and I have to, like, respect that he is accommodating me, you know? You got to ask like in a really nice
way. Like, are you available tomorrow to film? You know?
Feel like it's his
not,
decision.
Hey, we're filming tomorrow from 10 to 3. Like, what, girl? I got the kids. I got things to do. So just finding the balance with respecting his time and respecting the fact that he's being a willing participant. And may I note that he has not missed any of the events this season. He's at any and everything, whether they're mad face, sad face, happy face, he is accounted for. So let's check that.
Looking like Ben Affleck.
Listen, that's fine. You're happy to be here. I know that.
What are some things you learned about each other in therapy?
Oh my gosh.
About your relationship and how to improve and make sure that you guys stay cohesive.
So one of the things that I learned is that I'm just supernaturally independent.
Right.
My happiness does come from me, which is like a lot of people's happiness sometimes comes from other people. All of my happiness comes from me, right? So I am the center of my attention. So I have learned in therapy that when you invite people into your life, you have to be a lot more open and be a lot more flexible. Like when you're so used to being a quote unquote boss or business person, you think that everything. So just learning to turn that part of me off so I can submit a little bit more, right? Right. And being open to submission. And then also just Greg learning that this is who I said I want to be with, and accepting that, no, she's not your traditional woman. This is what makes her happy, and just us finding the middle ground, what that looks like for our household.
Right. Well, that's good. I'm glad you made that decision and that he was cool with you guys doing that.
Because you can accept it or you don't. You know? Yeah.
Did you film any sessions? I'm curious.
We actually did film one.
Because I feel like they would have asked for that.
They filmed it, and it was so good. And I'm so mad that y'all didn't see it, because it was the one time where I think it shows a lot more of how I am in a relationship. Because I think it makes Greg appear to be like this super strong, like, hey, but it's actually, I have a very big personality. And, you know, I have a lot to say at all times. I don't know if y'all know. So it's like, is Greg the problem or is Kay the problem? I don't know. But we're so much alike. Second to that, we're the same sign. We're so much alike.
What sign is that?
We're both Sagittarius.
Okay.
We're Sagittarius. So it's like.
So wait, your birthday is?
I'm November 28th, and he has a birthday coming up.
All right. So how did y'all get back together? Like, even...
Girl, you ain't following these stuff. No, I'm joking.
No,
So how we get back together is that so once I moved out, I was actually kind of happy. I'm like, okay, this is great. Once I finally got my little...
Love the condo.
Oh, the condo is amazing. Once I got settled in the condo, I was like, okay, this I kind of like it. And I think it's just one of those things with time. And he, you know, we were still in communication. And then he just called me one day and was like, maybe we need like to actually go like take a trip and actually talk.
Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Yeah.
And like,
maybe we could say more backstory that we
No, it really wasn't.
Okay.
You know what? We are not complicated people like that. It's like we are both very much like we can agree. Like, we have our time and we'll think about it.
A trip always works.
And I think the trip was like, we both were like...
And Ashley ain't never been on a trip with Josh, so...
Listen, Ashley, step it up, honey. Step the cookies up. We got to get you on the trips, on the planes, and the things. But yeah, I think the trip was really like our moment. We was like, okay, we can find some peace here. We can find some happiness. And then deciding to go to therapy after we went on the trip, because that was really like the main consensus for me. It's like, okay, maybe we need some help to mediate the issues that you and I can't resolve on our own.
What would you say to people now that are watching the show and they might have been like, I liked her before, but now that she's, you know, I'm not feeling her. She's coming for Stacy. She's doing this. She's got an issue with everybody. She's making small things big deals. How would you respond to that?
You know what? I would respond by saying, at the end of the day, guys, my issues are always valid, whether you see the full story or not. You know, sometimes you got to see a person's journey. I think people also have to realize they're watching me as a housewife. So there are other sides. I mean, I'm not always going to be nice. I'm not always going to talk to you nice, but I don't start things. I'm going to clarify that. I do not start things. Now, I will bring you the facts after we addressed it, but I don't normally like to think that I start things. And I think even with the Stacy of it all, it's like at the end of the day, we're all on TV. We're all trying to have a moment. We're all trying to have a conversation. You know, that's what we're here to do, is express ourselves. And I think people are just learning that Kay is more multifaceted than just being the nice Kay. Yeah.
Are they going to really be addressing like Wendy and Eddie and their issues?
Listen, I hope we address it all. You know, that's what the reunion is for. Like, that's the open floor for us to discuss.
This reunion is about to be on fire.
Child, honey, y'all just be seated, put your popcorns on, take your wigs off. Yeah, it's going to be...
Take your wigs off.
Take it off. Yeah, just get seated, honey. Yeah, but yeah, I think this is what the reunion is for. All of these little small moments that, you know, that you don't get to see, the things that need to get addressed, things that happen off the camera.
Do you feel prepared?
Oh, yeah, I feel super prepared. I'm ready. I'm like a kid on the first day of school, baby. Where's my outfit? Yeah, I'm ready.
Now, I saw something that was posted after the whole thing happened with Wendy. They said that you had some issues of fraud or something.
Lies. Never had an issue with fraud. First of all, I'm glad we're talking about this because, you know, I try not to get into, like, what do they call it? Like smut, what they call it? It's like smut blogging when it gets to the stuff that's like, oh guys, you girls were deep in the trash to kind of make a moment. But let me address it. It had nothing to do with me. I never seen a courtroom about it. You guys already know I had a season of my life where I dated the bad boys, right? Y'all knew that. We knew
that out your system early.
We had a season of my life with Honey where I was like, okay, this is fun together. I love it here. I had a season like any other girl, but listen, I never been convicted. I never had a felony. It was immediately dismissed because it had nothing to do with me. It was really one of those
wrong person, wrong place.
Catch a small fish to get the big fish.
Right.
Didn't have nothing to do with me, which is why whoever was very, very busy, it actually was immediately dismissed and expunged. So, you know, the powers that be that was working overtime to try to dig that little bit of dirt up, God bless.
Well, thank you for clearing that up. So if they try to bring it up on the reunion,
yeah. Honey, listen, let me tell you something. Ain't no tea on that. Ain't no dirt on that, honey. They got the people. It ain't had nothing to do with me. It was dismissed. I ain't have no felonies. They got them people. God bless him. Listen, I don't have no felonies, no melodies. I ain't got no fraud. I didn't need to do fraud. And let me just be clear. I literally have been a business owner my entire life. Even just be in position to be able to buy my business, sell my business within my family. This is what I do. Okay, so this is
come to her if you need some advice.
Listen, because I could have helped a few people out, so you didn't have to get in that little bit of chokehold once it get excessive.
All right, Kay. Well, we're locked in. Thank you so much for coming up
welcome.
here. This was a pleasure to talk to you, and I appreciate just how cool you were to talk to and easy
totally.
and just open about everything. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you asking me the questions because, honey, one thing, the girls always try to gag you, but I live in my truth. So, yeah.
All right, let's see what happens next. No,
I'm waiting.
It's way up.